Hello, everyone out there in podcast land. This is your host, Severin Henderson, back again with another episode of Firecast, new name of the formerly named Department 3C Presents a podcast, and Department 3C Presents a podcast connected to fire. We had that little contest, and Firecast was the winner. So these are our first episodes for the beginning of 2022. Just kind of been backed up, haven't had a chance to get in and put any audio together. But we're back, we're here, and we're getting it done. This episode I actually recorded from home off of a Zoom interview, so we didn't do it in the studio, but I wanted to add this little disclaimer at the beginning and tell you about that, tell you what the episode's about. On today's episode, we're going to be speaking to Jeff Berger of Amare. We talk about his new ebook. It's dedicated to mental health, and his and I, both of our participation in the Amare Global brand. I got connected with this brand just based off of the mental wellness aspect of it. That's what I always talk about. That's what I always preach. We talk about how taking care of yourself on the inside reflects on the outside. We talk about gut-brain access. Give some information inside the podcast on how to get his ebook for free, how to work with him or me for free pretty much, and get started, get your gut-brain access together, get your mental wellness together. I think it's a great movement. I know personally I'm trying to train for a Spartan race later on in the year, and with these products I used to have horrible stomach issues, problems. Sometimes you eat healthy, it gets to be too healthy, and things just don't go the way that you anticipate them going. But with these products that I've been using, I've had more energy. I've lost, at the time, 7 pounds. I'm up to about 12 pounds now. 7 pounds at the time of the recording, 12 pounds now. And I just feel better overall inside and out. I wrote an article about it. I wrote a blog you can find on my website, www.department3c.com. And if you have any desire to connect with us and know more about the brand and know more about working with me in any aspect, my email address is info@department3c.com. You can connect with me on most socials at Department3C, and personally at I am Sevi on most socials. My friends, family, call me Sevi. You call me Sevi too. And I look forward to hearing from you. Again, this is Jeffery Berger. We're going to be talking about mental wellness, about his book, about Amare Global brand. If you want to work with me as far as that goes, just drop me an email. I'll get back to you, and we can go from there. Hope you like the episode. Again, offer that feedback if you got it, if you love it, if you hate it, if I stink, if I smell good. You can't smell me because it's a podcast. You can't see me because I haven't got video figured out yet. I will, but that's it for now. Enjoy the episode. Bye. Hello, everyone out there in podcast land. This is your host, Severin Henderson, back again with another episode of new name, Firecast. That's the name that ended up winning the contest that I had put out. Firecast is what I think is a good name, and our first guest under the Firecast name is Jeffery Berger. So I'm sure we're doing this over Zoom. Jeffrey had to do some traveling, and I'm here in Chicago. But we wanted to make sure that we had a chance to speak over a podcast and put out and get things going about what he has going on in his business and the business that I've joined up with as well. And Jeff, how are you doing? How was the trip?
The trip was very uneventful. So we just drove from Southwest Florida, from Cape Coral, Florida, up to Orlando. I'm outside of Disney. Going to be spending tomorrow all day at Disney for some R&R.
Okay, that's great. That's fantastic. That's what we like to hear. So I talked just a little brief bit about the business that we're in together. Could you give the audience a breakdown of what we're talking about? We're talking about Amare,
Sure.
but I kind of wanted you, the guru, to explain everything.
Sure. I'd be happy to. So, yes, absolutely. So, Amare Global is the first and only holistic mental wellness company that actually focuses on the microbiome. The microbiome is the gut, brain, heart axis, and a science that's actually disrupting the health and wellness industry because we are finding out that really all disease starts in the gut. And this has been proven over the last 4 to 5 years, actually from the microbiome project that started in 2006, as well as other clinical studies and research programs out there, really diving into the gut health and looking at how it is really associated with your overall physical and mental wellness. Because 90% of your neurotransmitters are created in the gut. And this is the communication link between the gut, the brain, and the heart, because we have 3 hearts. And this is a product line, it's a platform. It's actually a platform that this company has produced of programs and a product line that is science-backed, clinical trial, plant-based, vegan-friendly, as well as award-winning. And also this year, we are getting into some innovative world announcements in regards to some really brand new science, especially with this new purple pill, if you will, that was just announced January 14th, signaling the gut in regards to weight control. And it is, we talked about the in traditional weight loss programs, it's calories in, calories out. Well, that's old science. And today it's new science where there's a hormone signaling aspect into the gut. So that's the base of the company. We're innovative. We're researching on the gut microbiome and really focusing on that gut-brain axis to bring overall physical as well as mental wellness to everybody today so they can be happy and thrive a lot more than they have in the past, years to decades.
Okay. Well, that all sounds fantastic and amazing. That's how you and I found each other. I know that for me personally, I was feeling not quite right, not quite myself, mood-wise, and I put up a post today talking about my stomach had been hurting for years. I went to the doctor to keep seeing what it is. They couldn't really find anything specific to give me an answer as to what it is. They said, well, do you eat a lot of fried foods? No, occasionally, but I don't eat a lot of fried food. Are you eating too much fiber? I'm like, I don't think I'm eating too much fiber. Are you, just everything? Are you drinking too much? Are you drinking too little water? Or what are you just going through my entire diet? I did almost every test that I can think of. It was one more that my insurance wouldn't pay for, so I didn't get. But other than that, I kept trying to figure out why my stomach was hurting. So I ran across the Amare platform and said, I have a clinically and scientifically proven formula that'll help with your mood and your gut brain science and all that other fun stuff that you said just now. And I said, well, I didn't try everything else. Let me give this a try. So I ordered, gave it a try, and from like that point on, I just felt better. My stomach felt better. My mood improved. I felt better about waking up and going through the mundane rigors of life and everything else. It just seemed like it really helped. And it took about 2.5 weeks to get things going. So that's my brief story.
Yeah, so everybody experiences something different. At least you started with something in a couple of weeks. It took me 5 months.
Okay.
And everybody's metabolism is different. It's custom to your own, your body type, your metabolism, and what you really have going on. So me as a holistic wellness coach, I look at all those aspects. And for me, I was actually suffering from type 2 diabetes. I was considered obese. I was on 5 medications. and I was dealing with decades of a plethora of stress, anxiety, and depression at a 10 plus. But I kept pushing through that those months, because the more I understood the significance that this product line has in regards to these indigenous plants targeting neurotransmitters to aid in gut repair, as well as mental acuity, bringing down cortisol levels and bringing down and lessening that stress and anxiety, and increasing those feel-good neurotransmitters. So I was able to, after 9 months, to be able to reverse my type 2 diabetes, lose 60 pounds, come off of 5 medications, as well as reduce that anxiety, stress, and depression to a level 1 with absolutely no depression whatsoever over the last 3 years. So to me, having lived decades with that, it's been a blessing and just a true transformation for me. And it's been a choice now. I've made the choice to live a holistic lifestyle because we are led down a path. My opinion is we're led down a path through broken systems that we have here in the United States. You know, our food industry is corrupt. Our medical industry is corrupt. Our pharmaceutical industry is corrupt. And this is not really good for the average American, because I look back to when I was younger, as well as what's going on today. And there's that big transition of, all types of diseases that are being discovered and, renamed or whatever. And we're not getting better. We're getting worse. We're digressing, and we should be getting better in regards to getting to the root of the cause.
Right.
And I really discovered this, Severin, when I actually went to my doctor a couple of years ago and said, I want to get my A1C down to 5.0. A1C is a blood marker. For those that don't know, you take blood. A1C indicates whether you're diabetic, pre-diabetic, or non-diabetic. And 5.0 is a non-diabetic diagnosis. And I said, I want to get my A1C down to 5.0. It was 7.9. And her response was, why do you want to do that?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wait a minute, There's something wrong with that answer.
Yeah.
So that's when I actually, turned to her and said, as of this moment, I'm taking 100% control of my health. And either you're going to work with me or not, because I am going to reverse my diabetes, which you never really told me that I could. Mm-hmm. You said that I came from a family of type 2 diabetics. My dad passed of type 2 diabetes, his sister, then his younger brother. Mm-hmm. I was really next in line, and I wasn't ready to die because that's the path that they were leading me on. Mm-hmm. So I made some changes. I did my own research. I was introduced to this plant-based protocol. I really dove in and understood it, to learn it and really embrace it, and go for it. And I am here today, 3 years shy of when my father died of type 2 diabetes. And, I've surpassed heart attacks, and, he did have an amputation. My heart is strong. He had heart disease. So it really revolves around nutrition and what we're really putting into our bodies. Right. And there's so much chemical preservatives in our foods today. That is what's causing the diseases that we're having, that are coming to fruition. It's like, and it's sad. It's really sad because the food industry knows it, the government knows it, Big Pharma knows it. Yeah. And it's a cycle. It's just a cycle. Yeah. So I'm here to share my journey, my experience, and knowledge. If people resonate with that, that's awesome. And if they don't, that's fine too. Right. So, but it's great to walk away from the doctor. I have a new doctor, and 3.5 weeks ago, about 4 weeks ago, I walked, as I was leaving, he said, you're in the best health that you've been in over 30 years. Whatever you're doing, keep doing what you're doing. Keep it up. Because, and to hear that, and he's an integrative doctor, and he's on both sides. And not that I take away from pharmaceuticals, because they are required there's a time and a need for it. Right. Okay. Hey, I'm the first to raise my hand when I'm passing a kidney stone. Give me that morphine to get through the pain. Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't need the morphine day in and day out.
Right.
So, yeah.
What you're saying about the industry with food and what we put in our bodies, that makes total sense. I mean, you look at different countries, European countries that are on the same level as us as far as medicine goes. And there are different foods and different chemicals that are banned in different countries that we can have here. It's just so much food waste that we end up throwing away and getting rid of. And food is just so readily abundant. It's the gift and the curse if you think about it, because all of that food that we don't need to eat, you can get it anytime you want for cheap as you want to get. But to get something healthy, it costs a bit more. It's a little bit more work involved to go get it. I know other places in the United States that have what are called food deserts where they can't get healthy food. I know in the city that I live in, there are more unhealthy options than there are healthy options in the different neighborhoods. That's starting to change in certain places, but it's not as readily available as one would like for it to be.
Yeah, no, this is very, very true. And you just have to look at the bigger picture, because we've been led down this path of these food companies. And as you know, I mean, 200 years ago, people were making their own food.
Right.
They weren't shopping. Yeah, they did some shopping, but they were making their own food. And today, with the hectic life that most people lead, they're having to go to the stores and buy prepared foods and buy processed foods because it's quicker. They don't have time to cook a healthy meal at home, especially working moms today. And some of these parents are working 2 and 3 jobs. Yeah. So what's the best route is go to Burger King, go to, these fast food restaurants, or get packaged foods. And the research that I did, and hey, I followed that route. I was on that same path that everybody else was, but I wasn't getting any better. And I'm like, there's got to be a different way. And because the research that I've done is, I was just really taken back by this. And thank God for the internet, because there's a lot of information out there that is not in mainstream media. Mm-hmm. All right. So, for example, glyphosate. And this is what I teach in my free workshops. Every month I do 3 workshops about, it's more on mental fitness for busy entrepreneurs. And glyphosate is a chemical that is in a product called Roundup. And Roundup is a pesticide that they spray from, it's created by Monsanto, and they spray it on the fields for corn and all kinds of vegetables and wheat, so forth and so on. And in 1974, this chemical was patented as an antibiotic. And that's when they started to inject that into the genes of corn and soy to ward off insects from eating the plants. So whatever the insects didn't eat, who ate it? We did, because corn and soy is a big food filler. And we've been consuming that for decades. Just recently, I'm seeing articles about lawsuits in regards to people developing cancer, and it's discovered that it's caused from glyphosate, which is in our foods. Mm-hmm. And the companies know this. And there was other articles about food companies going to seeking chemical companies to create a preservative that is addictive and tastes good. Mm-hmm. So, and these are what these companies are doing. And I give an example that you can't eat one. So you got all these preservatives that are on these foods that people just eat. And what it's doing is it's disrupting the gut health. Mm-hmm. And that bad bacteria is getting down there, and they're all screaming, I want more, I want more, I want more. So they keep eating it. And that's why we have the obesity level here in the United States. It's astronomical. Yeah. And as well as the disease that we have that's just outlandish.
You kind of got to a point that I was going to make, just talking about plants in general as well. Plants, we overuse the soil in some different places, and then in addition to that, the pesticides and to make it grow faster and make it grow bigger and put it out. those are all things we're eating as well. And I have a friend that I do another podcast with. One day I have to get her to get on her soapbox on that podcast. But she's like, F organic. And I'm like, why F organic? Because everything, it shouldn't even have to be a thing for stuff to be organic. Organic should just be what the food is. You shouldn't have to buy or pay more for food that doesn't have chemicals or processed. And so she, like I said, one day I'll get her to get on it on that other podcast, and then I'll reference it back on this one. But
yeah, I mean, you got to think though, and I was. So you brought up that statement, which made me think. I didn't finish one of my other thoughts. Was
go ahead.
So many people are they're shopping at Walmart. They're shopping at these cheap stores that have these processed foods. And yeah, they're going to buy the cheap stuff because that's where a majority of people are purchasing from. And it's because of the economy that, people are living at a below poverty level.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes, the organic foods are cheaper, but these people have to live too, but they're healthier. And it's more of an investment. And I work with people to make small changes. Make small changes on a daily basis or a weekly basis to make some small changes in your lifestyle to start incorporating those types of products. If you get organic stuff at the store, it's going to be expensive because you've got all those different deployments from the farm to the sale, because of the farm, the manufacturing, the distribution center, and then the store, and the price keeps going up because they're getting paid down the chain line. But if you go to a farmer's market, it's much cheaper. You get a better price at a farmer's market, and it's difficult in cities. But there are farmers markets that are, popping up in cities. I lived in New York City. There were farmers markets in New York City. In Boston, I lived in Boston. So they are out there. It's just a matter of, really just educating, because people aren't educated.
That's the thing.
And they need to educate themselves and really look at the advantages of how this is going to really change their life.
Right. Speaking of education, let's talk to another reason why I asked you to come on the podcast today. You have a book coming out, so tell us about that.
Yeah, I just, in fact, it was just released this morning, and I was back and forth with the publisher, and so it's called "How to Eliminate Stress Fast Without." How to eliminate stress without RXs. Okay. I took the word fast out of it for a specific reason, but it's how to eliminate stress without RXs. And through my journey, I was on antidepressants and stress, protocols from a pharmaceutical perspective that really, really didn't work for me because it just made me more psychotic from that aspect. But dealing with what I've been dealing with and being able to reduce that anxiety and stress, I share a little bit about my story. I share a little bit about the history of pharmaceuticals, which was the FDA was actually formed in 1906. And it was at that time, over the next 10 to 20 to 30 years, is when they disbanded, homeopathic and holistic and ancient Chinese medicine and Ayurvedic, saying that's all voodoo, foo-foo stuff. Mm-hmm. And this is the way to go is big pharma. So I talk about that in the ebook. And then I showed some associations with the foods that we're eating. What are the chemicals that are in these foods? And I give associations of this chemical preservative in this food causes depression. It causes stress. It causes gut issues. So I give that from a nutrition perspective. Then I talk about the pharmaceuticals for stress, anxiety, depression, Lexapro, and the list goes on, about here's what it's supposed to do and here are the side effects. And then I take plants that I've been consuming from that same perspective that address in stress, anxiety, depression, and talk about those specific plants because they target neurotransmitters as well as feed the microorganisms in our gut, feed the cells and the viruses. And these plants do the same thing that these pharmaceuticals do without side effects.
Right.
So it really, it's more of it's a 30-page book. It's very condensed. And it just gives, a very short, high level overview. Here are some drugs, and then here are some plants. They both do the same thing. The drugs have side effects and the plants don't. Now, let me just put a caveat on that. Some people are allergic to certain plants, and that is on an individual basis. The majority are not allergic to plants. And people who have severe reactions to plants know automatically. Example, we've got ashwagandha, which is in our Mood Plus product to help with anxiety and depression. She's allergic to that, so she can't utilize that product because she already knows that. And if somebody's allergic to something, it may mean that something is going on in their gut because they got a lot of other stuff going on.
Right.
And a lot of the people actually work through that process because what you're doing is you're introducing all this good stuff into your belly, and it's fighting with the bad stuff. So there's a battlefield in your gut, and the good stuff is trying to get rid of the bad stuff. So that's the ebook, and I'm really proud of it, and it is free. I'm not charging for this ebook because I want to educate people to really start thinking different, and be receptive to getting some information and looking at stuff that you don't get this from your doctor.
Right.
When we go to the doctors, I got this going on. And then it's like he goes to the green book and goes, oh, this is the drug I'm going to prescribe you, and then goes for the prescription pad.
Yeah.
Rather than, okay, well, let's get to the root of the cause. Yeah. So you've got this going on. Well, what are you doing? Are you eating bad food? Are you this? Are you whatever the case may be? And get to the root. And that's what they don't do. So. And
it just keeps going along, like you said earlier in this conversation, it just keeps going on and on. It's a cycle. If one medicine doesn't work, let's give you another one. Oh, that one's supposed to work, let's give you more of that one. And it's like a never ending. It's like once you start, you don't stop. I had a doctor tell me, yeah, if you go on this medication, you like automatically go on this one. I'm like, well, what if that's not what's wrong with me? They just go together. And it's like,
well, exactly. It's when I went to the doctor, she wanted to put me on a 6th medication. I'm like, why are you putting me on a 6th? Well, you're starting to have complications from the other 5.
Yeah, and so it's like,
well, wait a minute. So, and my father was on 12 medications for his diabetes, his heart disease, his leg amputation. So he was on all kinds of medications because those were the results of type 2 diabetes. He, as you get type 2 diabetes and you don't manage it or reverse it, no, I shouldn't even say manage it. You need to reverse it because they say manage it with prescriptions. No, you need to reverse it because you can reverse it and get away from those pharmaceuticals because that's what's eating away at your gut. That's what's causing all the other things that are going on with heart disease, leg amputation, dementia, and Alzheimer's.
Okay. Well, those all make sense. I'm reading another book right now, talk about why we get sick, and mostly it's pointing to insulin resistance as the reason why we get sick and get cancer and everything. So I'm going to finish that. But at the same time, I'm going to make sure that I pick up your book, for guys in my position. We always say if it's free, it's for me. So if you got a free 30-page ebook, I'd love to get it. Where can we get the book? Can you give the link out?
So I don't have the link memorized because I just got it today, but okay. I will send it to you. I'll send it to you, and you can share with individuals.
Okay. Well, like I was telling you before, I'm gonna put a little promo at the front and at the back, so we'll make sure that we give out that information.
Awesome.
What other information there's another few questions that I want to ask you, then I'll let you get out of here. So, you told me why you stay up at night, you told me why you kind of got on this mission, but the one thing that I didn't hear is where did you even find this company from in the first place?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I left corporate America in 2016 because I was burnt out. I was not happy with what I was doing, and I always, in the last 4 to 6 to 8 years of my professional career as a software engineer, I was really thinking that I always was more on the philanthropical side and wanted to give back. But I was working 7 days a week for a company, and I couldn't give back because I was working, 8 to 10 hour days. So, and sometimes even more than that, working 60, 70, 80 hours a week. So I left. I did get involved with another company because I thought it was a good company. But after a little while, I found that there were some integrity issues. I ended up leaving, and I was really frustrated. But a friend of mine introduced me to this company, and initially I said, no, I'm not interested. I'm done with companies like this, and I'm just not interested. And like about 3 weeks later, I had a vision, if you will, and said, you know what? I'm open to getting information. Let me get some information. So I got the information from a friend of mine. I did my due diligence. I did it for 2 weeks. I researched the company. I looked at the product line. I looked at the integrity of the corporate staff and looked at the mission statements, so forth and so on, and decided to hop on board. And when I hopped on board, I actually hopped on board October 18th of 2018. And I want to say it was within a week, I got an invitation from the CEO to come out to California. They flew me out to California. I was out there for a weekend, and I was able to sit down with the CEO, with the president of the sales department, the marketing department, the chief science officer. I had dinner with them on Friday night, and all day Saturday was in a classroom. They talked about the business, the vision, the mission, where they are taking this company, and then a Saturday night I had a one-on-one with Hiptran, who was the founder and the CEO, who, by the way, was actually in rehab right before he formed this company. And when he got out of rehab, I want to say it was 8 months. It was either 6 or 8 months of strenuous rehab for opioid addiction as well as alcohol. He got out and he just said, you know what? Mental health is a crisis. We need something that is going to work because medications are not doing it. So he formed the company. And it was that weekend that really solidified my decision, because I was still a little skeptical. But after speaking with these people and speaking with Dr. Sean, who's the chief science officer, who has decades of nutritional science behind him, I made that decision. This is something that I can embrace and I can share with people. I was still diabetic, still going through that. But that first 6 to 8 months to 9 months is when everything changed for me. And the more I got better, the brain fog lifted, the stress and anxiety was dropped down. And it's like, wow, this is really powerful because so many people are dealing with stress and anxiety today. I, really pride myself in regards to what we've gone through, especially in the last year and a half to coming up to 2 years now with, the global pandemic. Didn't stress me out at all. Didn't bother me. I've been healthy. I've not been sick since 2018. Once I got into this protocol and changed my eating habits, I have not been sick. And I attributed that to the research that I've done and the changes that I've made in my lifestyle. So I'm forever thankful for my friend Patty, who actually introduced it to me, who was introduced to it by her sister because her sister is a survivor of cancer. And she was looking for a protocol that would help her get through her journey of recovering from cancer. And we have a lot of cancer people who are living with cancer, who have survived cancer, who have incorporated this product line and having amazing results with it. So, and it's something that I embrace and I want to share. I want to share and get the vision, or the information out to people, because I was sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Right.
Looking for that hope. Where is the hope in this world that things are going to get better, that I can get healthier? I found it. Now I want to share it. I want to pay it forward. And that's why I do my coaching sessions for free. I coach my coaching is for free. people, if they're interested in evaluating our protocols, I get them up and running on a protocol, and my coaching sessions are free because my vision is to help them live and thrive like they did when they were, younger.
Okay, that all makes sense. That's all great. That's all lovely to hear. Because all too often, you kind of get into these companies, get into things, and they're just about making money and how much can we make, how far can we go, and here a company is actually concerned about people's health, like for real, and especially on the plant-based tip, that's really helpful. I've heard about a few different ones that are good and great, but at the same time, they're sometimes few and far between. So to hear about a good one is absolutely fantastic. And the whole plant-based thing is where a lot of people are heading, a lot of people are going.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's just kind of, it's a simple equation. So before we get out of here, because I've had you for a little bit of time, but before we get out of here, I just want to, diet-wise, because they have different offerings. I mean, if you go on the website, you can find everything. And while I said with not a whole ton of effort, it's not like I'm out trying to run 5Ks or 10Ks or getting prepared to do that, but I have seen results. At the same time, while you're taking these products, you can't be going and eating all the bad stuff and having that battle inside your gut, like you said, and saying, well, let me just take a little bit more so this side can have a leg up. So what are some suggestions you give people that are just starting off with this product?
Sure. So the first thing is to start weaning yourself off of fast foods. McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, all those fast food restaurants, Denny's, any of those food places have, they're all processed foods. They've got chemicals in them. And some of them isn't, really real meat, real food. It's all mixed together. So that's number one, is to start getting away from going there. Also, be very, very selective on your restaurants. Of course, if you're eating at a higher end restaurant, they're going to have more top quality food. But the fast food chain, if you will, they're fast food. They buy their food cheap because it's really cheap to produce and purchase and resell. So that's number one. Number two, start cooking at home. Start looking at shopping on the outside of the
grocery store,
of your store, the grocery store.
I've
on the
heard
outside.
that before. Don't go in the core. You go on the inside. That's where all the bad stuff is.
Exactly. And you go into the store. If you don't go in with a specific list of things, I want to go for this, 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 and this, you come out with 50 other items, and they're generally from the center. So that's number two, is when you're doing your shopping, is start to look at it. And you know what I'm going to say, Severin, number one is start getting educated.
Okay.
Start getting educated. Okay. And then number two,
start cutting
is
the stuff out.
To cut the stuff out and start getting educated through my ebook, because it talks about the foods that we're eating, the fast foods, and that kind of stuff. It'll give you just a couple of little, like a half a page of information about fast foods and about processed foods and so forth and so on. So education, stay away from fast food restaurants. And then if you're going to eat out, look at, better high end, but then fixing, your meals at home. We're fixing our meals at home like 99.9% of the time. I can probably count on two hands how many times we went out for to a restaurant this past year in 2021. Yeah. Everything was made at home. Yeah. And it's primarily, I've gone 95% plant-based. And once in a great while, I'll throw in salmon, and it's wild salmon, organic chicken, or those are the only. Organic. Yeah, organic chicken and organic. Wild salmon, organic chicken. I'm away from the red meats, and red meats, especially steaks and things like that. If you're buying them at the supermarket, they're filled with steroids and antibiotics to pump these animals up to make that meat big and thick and juicy.
Yeah.
You're eating all of those hormones that were shocked from the chemicals in those animals. Yeah. You're eating their adrenaline that's stored in the fat and in the meat of that product, and you're consuming that. So it is true in my ebook, You Are What You Eat. Mm-hmm. You know, and those are the first couple of things to really start changing your way of thinking and getting out of that paradigm of this broken system where they say Kellogg's is healthy for you, but you know what? Kellogg's has glyphosate on it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, and really look at what you are consuming. If you can't read the word on a label, then stay away from it. Stay away from it.
Got 3 quick things, and I'm gonna get all 3 of these out the way real quick because we keep talking about plant-based, and I'm really into sports, and so I think about like a lot of the basketball players. We just had Tom Brady retire into his 40s, and like the basketball players, Chris Paul comes to mind. He's old for a little guy, point guard. He's only 6 feet, but he went to a plant-based diet. He said once he went to that plant-based diet, he just saw his productivity not increase, but his energy levels. And like I said, the athletes are staying around for a lot longer than they used to be. Yeah. The other point I was going to make was we were talking about the red meat especially, but not wild caught, but regular salmon. Not just the chemicals they put into the meat, but the chemicals they put on the meat to make it continue to look how it looks and look appealing.
Yes.
So that was the other point that I was going to make. And the third point was, where can people find you?
So I mean I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. You can really just look for me under Jeffery E. Berger, and that's Jeffrey Eberger, and you'll know me right away with my bald head here. It's easy to find.
Amare, bring your hair back, or do you want to be bald? Because some people looking for that hair loss.
No, my hair. No, I have no hair. It's long gone.
Okay,
it's long gone.
Like I said, some people looking for that.
Yeah. So, and I also have a website, jeffreyeberger.biz.
Okay.
Where you can find some information.
Okay, cool.
But, so thank you, Severin, and thank you out there in the audience.
Yes.
I
really appreciate you coming on, speaking with everyone, speaking with me especially. And, a little bit later down the line, with some new products come out, maybe we'll get back and do this again and talk about it on a different platform. But, again, I really appreciate you coming through. And was there any questions I should have asked you that I didn't?
No, I think we covered enough. We've filled their heads with a lot of information. We'll leave it at that, and they'll get the link to the ebook, and definitely they can reach out to me if they have any questions specific to that ebook or anything else in regards to holistic mental wellness.
Okay, I like that answer. Means I did my job. Okay, so we're gonna let you get out of here, Jeff. We'll see you later. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.